All right, let's plug into your body's most incredible piece of tech, the nervous system. Seriously, it's this high-speed biological internet that controls literally everything you do, think, and feel. I mean, just think about it for a second. Right now, you're watching this, you're breathing, your heart is beating, maybe you're shifting in your seat, all at the same time. How on earth does your body handle that constant, massive flood of information without just crashing?
You know, to really get a handle on this, let's try an analogy. Picture your body as this massive, sprawling city that never ever sleeps. It's got traffic, neighborhoods, power grids, the whole shebang.
Now in this city, your nervous system is the super advanced communication network that keeps everything running. It's the fiber optic cables, the cell towers, the power lines, all rolled into one seamless system, making sure every single part of this metropolis is connected and running smoothly.
It's an amazing, resilient system for sure, but it's not invincible. So what happens when one of those critical wires starts to fray, or a signal just gets lost in transit? We're going to get to that, but first, we need to understand how the network is actually built.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture. Your entire nervous system is basically split into two huge parts. You've got the command center and you've got the grid.
So on one side, you have the central nervous system, the CNS. This is your command center. Think of it like City Hall. It's the brain and the spinal cord. And this is where all the big decisions get made. And then you've got the peripheral nervous system, or PNS. That's the rest of the city grid, all the nerves that branch out and connect City Hall to every last street corner and building in your body.
Now that city grid, the PNS, it has two major departments. First is the somatic system. This handles all the stuff you consciously control, like deciding to reach out and move your mouse. But then there's the autonomic system. This is everything that's on autopilot. Your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion, it just hums along quietly in the background, keeping you going.
And that autonomic system, it's got its own two divisions that work like a gas pedal and a brake. The sympathetic division is your fight or flight response. It's the gas pedal, revving you up when there's an emergency. And the parasympathetic division is the brake. It's the rest and digest mode that calms everything back down to save energy. They're constantly working together in this perfect, delicate balance.
All right, so we've covered the grid. Now let's head inside City Hall itself, the brain. This command center is split up into different departments, or lobes, and each one has a very important executive in charge.
First up, meet the frontal lobe. You can think of this as the brain's CEO. It's right up front, and it's in charge of all the high-level executive decisions, planning for the future, and even shaping your personality. Yeah, it's the boss. Tucked away in the back, we have this cerebellum. This is the head of operations. It's not making the grand plans, but it is executing them flawlessly. It manages your balance, your coordination, all those fine motor skills. Every smooth, coordinated move you make, you can thank the cerebellum. And then there's the brainstem. This is the city's essential utilities department. It's the oldest part of your brain, and its job is to manage the absolutely critical, non-stop functions that keep you alive, like your breathing and your heart rate. It's the stuff you never, ever have to think about. It just works.
Deep in the center of it all is the limbic system. This is the city's emotional core. It's home to some really powerful players, like the amygdala, which is your fear processor, and the hippocampus, which is crucial for making new memories. And you know, their offices are right next to each other, which is why really strong emotions and vivid memories are so deeply intertwined.
So we've met the executives in the brain's main departments. Now, let's zoom way in to see how they're all connected. We're going from the city map right down to the individual wires and the actual messages they carry.
Okay, meet the neuron. This is the fundamental unit of the whole system, the basic wire that makes up the entire grid. Its one and only job is to carry these tiny electrical messages from one place to another at incredible speeds. And you have billions of them. And here's how a message makes its journey. First, these branch-like things called dendrites collect a signal. If the signal is strong enough, bam, it triggers an electrical impulse that shoots all the way down this long tail called the axon. And when it gets to the very end, the axon terminals pass that message on to the next neuron using special little chemical messengers.
Now here's what's so cool. Neurons don't actually touch each other. There's this tiny, tiny gap between them called a synapse. And to get across that gap, the electrical signal has to turn into a chemical signal. These chemicals are called neurotransmitters, and they're basically the language, the words, that neurons use to talk to one another. And here are just a few of those chemical words. You've probably heard of some of them.
Dopamine, for example, is all about reward and motivation. It's that I feel good chemical. Serotonin helps manage your mood and sleep, and acetylcholine, that's essential for making your muscles contract. Each one is a totally different message with a totally different job.
Okay, we've got all the pieces on the board now. The command center, the grid, the wires, and the messages. So let's circle all the way back to our original question. What happens when this incredible system short circuits?
To understand a short circuit, we have to look at one last part of our neural wire, the insulation. See, most of these long axons are wrapped in this fatty layer called the myelin sheath. It's just like the plastic coating on an electrical wire. Its job is to insulate the axon so that the electrical signal travels super fast and doesn't leak out.
So in a healthy neuron, you get a perfect signal. The message zips down this well-insulated wire and arrives at its destination fast, clear, and strong. This is exactly how the system is supposed to work.
But what happens if that insulation gets damaged? Well, the wire becomes exposed, and now that electrical signal can leak out. It can slow down, get distorted, or maybe it just fizzles out completely. It's a classic short circuit. The message gets corrupted or is lost entirely.
And this is precisely what happens in a disease called multiple sclerosis, or MS. For reasons we don't fully understand, the body's own immune system starts to attack and destroy the myelin insulation on neurons inside the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord. And as that insulation disappears, those nerve impulses get blocked or garbled. This is what causes symptoms like muscle weakness, numbness, or vision problems, all depending on which specific wires in the system have been damaged.
So from the grand scale of the whole system, right down to the insulation on a single wire, your nervous system is both incredibly powerful and surprisingly delicate. But the most amazing part might be that it's not fixed. It's constantly changing, building new connections and strengthening old ones based on everything you do and learn. It's a process called neuroplasticity. So it kind of leaves you with a question, right? What connection are you going to strengthen today?